3 years ago, I sat in this very basement behind me this sheet talking about Batman. Looking back, there's a couple of things I'd change. First, much better. Second, let's go ahead and bring that in a little bit. Okay, thank you. Last thing I'd change, I'd review The Dark Knight Rises. Those with access to IMDb or their own memory may point out that when I did that first episode, the final installment of Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy had not yet been released. However, the way the conclusion to the series presented itself lends many more opportunities to analyze group behavior while under stress. Before we go into those details, though, let's discuss what went into this rare repeat performance. The Dark Knight Rises had big shoes to fill. The previous film in the series broke the $1 billion threshold. Several elements went into why this happened, from the gripping and strangely plausible plot to the way each character met and surpassed expectations, especially Heath Ledger's Joker. I recall before Heath took on this role that everyone knew the kind of actor he was, and when he was announced to play the Joker, immediate ridicule began. Then we saw the first trailer.
Why so serious?
We promptly shut up. Awesome casting with big-name villains and several dozen arcs that resolve in well-paced sync means that this film was the perfect storm. It shattered Batman Begins' performance for the rebooted franchise, and talks of a sequel were immediate. So how does one take such a surprise blockbuster and churn out another winner without copy-pasting the plot? If there's one thing Batman's in no short supply of, it's personal anguish and supporting characters. We're going to focus on those a lot this time around. So that begs the question, how can a movie that focuses so much more on Batman's personal damage and his sidekicks lend more credence to sociological analysis? Well, let's find out. Meet Commissioner Gordon, Batman's other half. We start at the memorial for Harvey Dent, then cut to 8 years later. The details of what transpired in that time are none of the audience's business. At least not right away. We take the perspective of the outsider, stepping away from the Gotham we knew and now observing the city that sprung from the Dark Knight's sacrifice. And the results are hard to argue with. When Batman took the fall and made Harvey Dent a martyr instead of a madman, he gave Gotham a fallen hero to get behind. They implemented policies under emergency legislation that allowed them to put mob leaders in prison and scare the crime rate down to nigh-utopian levels. So really, the crisis time has passed. Why is this movie necessary? That's exactly the question writer-director Christopher Nolan asked himself before committing to this project. He really sat down and said, is there a third chapter to this story? Or will The Dark Knight end with The Dark Knight? It took him a long time. He went and made Inception in the meanwhile, give himself some distance and perspective. But when he came back, he was like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And since he'd spent so much time in the first two looking at the psychology of Batman and how he developed, he decided to focus on the rest of Gotham. In the first two movies, Gotham is a damsel in distress. Bad guys terrorize her, Bruce Wayne runs in to save her. Like most damsels, the people of the city receive minimal development compared to their savior. We knew enough to care about the city population, but little beyond that. Makes sense that the first 40 minutes of this movie are devoted to exploring what's become of the Dark Knight's hometown. On the surface, things are looking up. Beneath that, though... there's a criminal underworld, literally here. The substructure of the city is teeming with thugs, shady construction workers, and mysterious breathing noises. That last thing comes from Bane, a world-famous mercenary notorious for his ruthless demeanor and bizarre accessories. So what is Darth Vader's gypsy cousin doing underneath Gotham? So many things, it's really hard to pinpoint where the chaos begins. Let's sort it out with the help of the DM.
As you recall, you were all just leaving the memorial services for Sailor Jesus.
Sailor who?
Jesus. You know, sent it into heaven last session.
When was this last session?
February 2013, guys?
Oh,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, 2013.
Why do you wait so long between sessions?
Why do you wear a suit coat? Life is full of mysteries.
Hey, got a question for you.
Well, as long as you're not questioning my campaign structures, ask away.
What do you think of Bane in The Dark Knight Rises?
Ah, yes! The Bat Backbreaker. Bane, well known for his brute strength and his cunning, is one of the most unique villains Batman ever encountered. He not only overpowers Batman, but figures out his secret identity in record time. While the movie Bane is not necessarily fueled by venom, he is incredibly strong, which is nice. And he has a perceived backstory of being raised in a prison, which is also nice. The director respects some canon, and that's all we can hope for.
Liberties with the source material are why they make movies. The question is, does this make good choices?
Well, you know, I see what they were going for. Bane's MO is break the bat. But he means in every aspect. Financially, mentally, physically, and finally, geographically.
Wait, geographically?
How else would you categorize threatening to destroy someone's hometown and then shipping them halfway across the world to a prison in the middle of nowhere?
Geographically.
Bruce Wayne is challenged on every front by a man and finds himself wanting at every turn. Even when fighting in pitch black, Bane plucks Batman out of the darkness with ease. While the Joker was unbridled chaos, Bane has orchestrated destruction of the hero.
So you like him?
There were problems.
But you just said
That I saw what they were going for. Here's what I heard.
Do you accept the resignation of all of these liars? Of all the corrupt?
Yeah, it's perfect mob manipulation. What's wrong with that?
He's not saying any of this.
But he's clearly the one speaking.
Is he? Watch again.
Behind you stands a symbol of oppression.
The only time I really believed he was speaking was when he was off screen or under a hood. When he was on screen, all I heard is, well, this.
Just walk away, and there will be an end to the horror. Just walk away.
Why they decided not to just go with a full mask and have him, Willem Dafoe all over the place is beyond me.
So your issues are cosmetic.
And then he so totally punked Bane out, denying Batman his vengeance to rise from the grave and defeat the one who so thoroughly trounced him. Why did Nolan feel the need to M. Night Shyamalan his ending?
Minor details aside, he was awesome.
Hey,
He didn't suck?
much better.
Thanks, DM. I can take it from here.
You do that. Meanwhile, let's get back to it. After divvying up the stuff as per Sailor Jesus' will, you each get 3 holy attack wafers and half a pint of holy water each.
I got Jesus disc! So, after Bane throws Batman out of the picture, he enacts his master plan. Destroy a pocket of civilization. And actually, he succeeds. Hard. Remember that utopian Gotham we had with the small police force and crime rates akin to a real city rather than a comic book world? Well, after a few well-timed explosions and speeches, Bane's got them doing this.
Ripped from their decadent nests.
That's no small accomplishment. He struck a nerve with the populace, subverting their superficial feeling of security by putting himself in league with power-hungry rich people, using their resources to make the town a gigantic ring of explosives. After this, he turns on all these leaders of the community and puts them on trial under supervision of the Scarecrow. Is it odd that I love Dr. Crane's cameos in the sequels more than his role in the original? Because, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that shouldn't happen. Anyway, once Bane cuts Gotham off from the rest of the world, he then shatters the illusion of Harvey Dent's spotless past through the stolen confession of Commissioner Gordon. This, plus releasing all the prison inmates, means the entire town is free to hurt one another and live in squalor. This is a solid demonstration that we thrive on rules. Sure, we may complain, the limits of this and limits of that in our daily lives, but survival on a basic level is totally killed by these rules. You subtract them, suddenly we're all vying for that one cow out in the pasture, just trying to tackle it and cut what we can for our own food and survival. Because if you're not one of those people that's trying to grab the meat, you're probably not going to make it in the long run. So, what Bane set up here is an awesome experiment in social structural collapse. I mean, sure, there are bad outcomes, but the circumstances Bane creates prove many basic principles of human behavior, more accurately than the Dark Knight's boat situation. These people on the ferry, while they are fleeing for their lives and desperate, still know that outside of this hall there will be consequences for their actions, which may change their behavior of whether or not they will key the detonation of the other boat. If the Joker really wanted his situation to work out, he'd have to engineer a lot more than just the ferries. He'd have to take down the entire civilization's comfort and make them feel like they are desperate on every front for survival, all while offering that little false hope that if they listen to him, they will survive. That's why the Joker's plan failed, and Bane's was a complete success. The rich that shelter themselves from society are dragged into the streets, the poor take valuables without real value anymore, and those in the middle class huddle in their homes waiting for the tide to turn. The only ones that really excel in this scenario are criminals, like Selina Kyle. She's a jewel thief that hates the wealthy, which is why she feels no guilt stealing from them. She also has a rich history within the Batman mythos. And so, since this is another deep character discussion, let's bring the DM back in.
And as you begin your daring descent to Tokyo Tower, sweat at the merciless bees that are surrounding, can I help you?
Got any opinions on how The Dark Knight Rises uses Selina Kyle?
Sorry, bees will have to wait, guys. Roll save versus Toxin. As an infamous cat burglar, Miss Kyle is the first female character from the Batman universe to come into the Nolan trilogy. That's unfortunately the best I have to say about her.
Come again?
She's flat-toned, directionless. Oh yeah, and a last-minute love interest that they shoehorned in there at the final moments of the film for two people that have absolutely no romantic feelings for each other. What happened to her character?
Well, she's never called Catwoman in all fairness.
Because she wasn't. The real Selena Kyle wouldn't fall victim to a false payday, nor let herself be trapped by an interview with a rookie detective then sent to prison. The woman snuck away from Batman on empty rooftops, and she can't sneak away from one rookie cop in a room full of people? I mean, honestly, what purpose does she serve?
She does symbolize a state of mind the less fortunate have towards the elite of Gotham.
And that can't be achieved without watering down a charismatic badass?
Apparently not. I think that pretty much sums up why I came here.
You sure? Because you kind of seemed finished the last time you signed off.
I'm sure. Thanks again.
Don't mention it! Now if you'll excuse me, I need to bust out my stinging dice.
So, since the criminals are having a heyday on the streets, you'd think Gotham City's police force would be doing everything they could to control the chaos. They would, except that Bane trapped all of them in the sewer on day one. Well, all except for one man, Detective John Blake. His unfailing faith in the things that saved the city last time makes him idolize Commissioner Gordon and Batman. Which, interesting side note, he actually figured out Batman's secret identity when he was a child, just by staring at him and recognizing that anger was buried deep inside. Despite that, he proves capable of caring for others while doing whatever it takes to make the world a better place. See, he'd be a great asset for what Batman's trying to accomplish here. They should partner up.
I like that name. Robin.
Oh, he literally is Robin.
No!
Ah, he scared me. No what?
He is not Robin! Robin gets taken under Batman's wing. He has to learn to trust again after the tragic loss of his parents, much like Bruce did. He's typically a more hopeful view of the world, however, and struggles to grow into his own as a hero, each step having Batman watch his back. Does this Robin fit that at all?
Well, he is hopeful.
He got better without Batman's help. Where's the story arc in that?
He did serve up that distraction for Batman at the final battle.
The point is, would the movie have been worse without him?
Debatable. I do love me some Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
You love him all you want. To me, he's just Reno. Robin in name only.
Thanks for that editorial. You can go back to your bees now.
Oh, right. Bacchus, you start to have trouble breathing after that last sting you got last week.
Oh man, I'm allergic to bees!
That's right. What are you doing?
Quick, give me the Epicac! I can't breathe!
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Bacchus, give yourself too experienced for good role-playing. Bacchus?
At the finale, Batman has saved the city once again, despite the fact that up until a few months ago, everyone villainized him for killing Harvey Dent. You know, Batman has a real love-hate relationship with Gotham. Anyone notice that? He grew up there, which led to his parents being murdered in front of him. When he fled, he initially had no intention of returning, because who would? This place is a hellhole. When he does come back, for some reason, he'll do whatever it takes to save its residents, because it's Gotham. Is it just me, or is his link to the town really unhealthy? I mean, Batman comes back several times throughout the years, and every time, law enforcement either hunts him down or officially rejects his help. You know, on the sly, Commissioner Gordon may go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and light the bat signal over here, but they make him smash it eventually because the Batman is no longer part of our lives. And yet, whenever it hits the fan in Gotham, they look around, where's Batman? Is he coming back? No one wants him around unless they need him. When peacetime has finally been attained at the end of the second film and reigns for nearly a decade, no one but children call out for Batman to return, because they're the only ones that miss him. The adults, they've forgotten it and moved on. It was just some policy that helped fix a hard time in our lives. But it's the fact that Batman never left that draws Bane to Gotham specifically. If not for Batman's actions in the first film, Gotham would have remained this safe haven, living under a lie for many years to come. It would have been better for everyone if he just left Gotham forever. However, he left them open to retaliation and just sat there waiting, knowing the day would come when things would go bad again, and he'd have to put on the suit and save them for the third time. This is textbook abusive relationship. Batman needs Gotham in distress to take action, and Gotham yearns for that same stress so that Batman can swoop in again, rescuing it from harm. These two need counseling. Probably more years apart, too. So, in the end, was Christopher Nolan right to come back to the franchise? Was this third installment truly necessary? To me, it was. Before this, the people of Gotham were only yelling bodies to be saved, but The Dark Knight Rises shows that it's a real community that fractures in realistic ways. Now everything it does, the TV series Gotham does better, but remember, this was released before that. Now, maybe this foray into the sociology of its people inspired the show to be made. I don't know. What I do know is that Batman is still a rich field for social commentators to pick through. I wouldn't be surprised if I come back to these grounds someday. I'm the other Socio, and I believed in Harvey Dent.
It's a quarter after one. I'm all alone and I need you now. Said I wouldn't call, but I've lost all control and I need you now. And I don't know how I can do without. I just need you now.
Number 1, the Scarecrow in Batman Begins. What the fuck? Number 2, the Scarecrow in The Dark Knight. What the fuck? Number 3, the Scarecrow in The Dark Knight Rises. What the This guy is more of a scarecrow than that scarecrow in all 3 movies.